Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hey, it is Shooter. We're going to do a little market recap. Of course, at the end of this presentation, please do review our disclosure. So now I talked a little bit about the S&P 500 futures in my risk on, risk off video yesterday. Make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Sort of going over that thought for just a minute. So my thought is that we needed to get to a specific, we're pretty doggone close to our B. We pushed a little bit on that B. And right now, the futures on the 90 minute is telling me we're done. And our target is going to go up here on a minor one to 4849. Let's take a look at the SPY, and we'll look at the dollar. Now, it's ironic. Futures did pretty well, and the SPY is also in good shape here, I think. You know, it's showing that we are heading towards an uptrend, which is good. So we got my close above 471.71, you know, where I wanted that. So, you know, hey, hopefully you bought the dip. You know, that was actually a good call. You know, and the challenging part when I make that comment, you know, I made that in major markets last weekend. So there was your dip. And, you know, hey, at this point we haven't broken down. So, you know, we get any back test, buy any dip again. You know, that's sort of my thought. Let me jump to the daily just to give you a full visual of where we are. So our intermediate wave is going to push way the heck up here now. And we're going to come off here at some point, but I think we head a little bit higher still. So the end of January is what I'm seeing here. I'm going to pull these fibs off. So we're going to push up to this minor wave at this 485.44. And then we got a decent drawdown. So we're going to be building out this flat here. Now that's where it's a little challenging because it's so broad. And if we look at the, I actually have to go out to the weekly for a second. Hold on. Let me see where that was. Yeah, you get a visual on that channel. So this is our base now. You know, it's coming back down here and saying this is our lows on this trend. So, you know, once we put in this 3, you know, here's my concern is that this 4 broadens a little bit more, gets back to 50% back, at least I would think. And then this 3 ultimately just pushes out. And this becomes more of a flat. So you know, it's very concerning that we came off the way we did, but you know, from a perspective at this point, you know, we're heading towards that 485. And we got my close above 406.65. So, you know, we basically recovered. So again, great call last week on buy the dip. I just, you know, it just kills me sometimes. All right, so we are going to jump out to the daily so we get a good visual on this. I really didn't change our counts. This is a minor wave here at 424. And then right now it's suggesting it's going to be fairly shallow once we get up there down to about 418. So maybe a $6 range. That was one thing I noticed today is that we were very tight in our range most of the day, which is good. You know, we basically stayed inside yesterday's candle, you know, which is also a sign of a reversal. So now also on the Dow, we got 50% back of yesterday's candle. So mission accomplished. You know, I don't think that much has changed here, except for that we probably broadened a little more. And if it will actually let me pull my tools, I got to see where that one is. And we're going to have to add an intermediate wave 3 here because it wasn't there before. It was there, but we weren't seeing it. Sort of how it is. So definitely broadened. Now, let me just go back and run through RSI real quick. Let me do Russell's first. All right, so the Dow, let me finish that. Intermediate wave 3 is up around 385. Then we get a decent drawdown to about 350, so $30 to the downside. See how we're getting toppy there? And the Russells, we got 50% back as well. Count's actually going to push a little bit off of this. Looks more flaggy than anything. So notice our RSI where we are. Now, RSI has legs. So this, you know, drive 1, drive 2. So drive 1. So in this tight on the daily, go out to the weekly. We're not confirming on the weekly, which is one reason I use multiple time frames. Going to the Dow, we've confirmed on this last one. However, we jump out to the weekly. Again, we will confirm, I think, potentially, but we got quite a ways to go still before we confirm on price. So we'll see what happens around that 388. Looking at the daily on the NASDAQ, you know, it looks like we're confirming here. Jumping out to the weekly, we have plenty of room still. So that 424 is totally viable. Notice how this has that mound look. And notice how, you know, we have this whole structure is mound looking to me. It's not as clean as some of them are. However, this is definitely a mound structure. So I'm looking at that as mound 1, mound 2. You know, so now we've gotten the retrace here. Now we should build out our next mound. And the Russells, you know, we sort of got this mound here. and really nothing here. So, we've built this mound flat. So then we should get another mound up here. And there's no equality there, like I speak about a lot with Elliott Wave and relative strength index and how they collectively work together. So looking at the SPY now on the daily, we sort of have a mound, but we look at the weekly, we confirmed on this one and we got a divergent high. So on the daily, we potentially have a top. However, the weekly's got plenty of room. So again, back to my thought that, hey, this is just leg one. We could say this is mount on this move. But since we're in this flat, I'm looking at this whole structure a little more than I am not. I want to really go out to the monthly and see how the mound structure looks. So this is our mound one. This is our mound two. So we're sort of building out that second part, sort of how this mound did this. You get the two pushes and then we back test and we get our third push over here. That's sort of what we're building out on right now. So let me jump to the dollar, which basically is going nowhere. Right back to our 102, 50, 55 range where it's basically been hugging. So this has tightened up a little bit. It's telling me that's actually bearish. Counts flipped to the bullish side on the dollar. Well, I'll change that. The count was wrong. Let me go back. I'll look at the 90 minute again, do that scan again. 90 minutes seems something different than the daily is, which is why you look at time frames. So no, that's good. It must have been a ghost print. So on the shorter time frame, there's a little divergence there in the 90 minute versus the daily. So maybe we do get a little push. Could flip bullish here because we're right at support. So that holds, it could give us a little, but I expect us to stay in this range. I don't really expect us to get out of that. All right. Let me jump over to the TLT. Now, I don't want to say bonds are in trouble, but they didn't respond the way I would have expected. I would have expected continuation today, and we really didn't get it. Even though we got a push, we closed on the low side of the candle. That's sort of my thought. So, at this point, you bought the dip. Hey, you did well. Now, Tesla. I wanted to jump over to that real quick and just end with that. Now Tesla, after that flush yesterday, so, I shouted out, good time to buy cash secured puts. I think it was fairly close to the low. I think it had one more little push on the 5 minute. I think if I remember correctly. Yep. I think I shouted it out like here. In this candle, and we got one more little flush, and then we've just been grinding right back up to our price. So, if you did sell cash secured puts, you should be in the money, about $3. So to the good side. But that's what I have for today, folks. Great trading. Until next time.